Hello friends, Ash here. Welcome back to GENTSTEN. I hope you're well. Today, I'm inducting 10 fragrances into my fictitious Hall of Fame, the GENTSTEN Hall of Fame. Yeah. So essentially, I had the idea to kind of make a Hall of Fame for fragrances that I've talked about on the channel, or just fragrances that I think are important, or fragrances I really love. And I wanted you guys to do the first round, but then I was like, nah, I'll go ahead and put the first 10 in. And then as time goes on, maybe like once a year, I'll have you guys vote, and then you can induct more fragrances into this Hall of Fame. So that's what we're doing today. We've got some niche fragrances, some designer fragrances that we're gonna show some love as we induct them into the Hall of Fame. So let's do it. Before we jump into the fragrances, how about some Hall of Fame codes like GENTSTEN, which will get you 10% off maxaroma.com or twistedlily.com. Shop at those websites, use that code, 10% off. And then the code for Lucky Scent is currently Gents 2022. But if you watch this sometime in the future, it's probably been changed. But for right now, it's Gents 2022. That'll get you 10% off Lucky Scent. First off, Green Irish Tweed from the house of Creed. Now, truth be told, I do not wear Creed fragrances anywhere near as much as I used to. And no, it's not because of the fact that they haven't come out with very much new. And also it doesn't have to do with, you know, the ghost perfuming, because frankly, that stuff people have been talking about since ever. It's more so just I kind of fell out of it. You know, I fell out of wearing a whole bunch of Creeds, but there are still some that I hold in extremely high regard. Green Irish Tweed, Aventus, of course, Royal Oud, but Green Irish Tweed has always been near and dear to me. That's my #1 favorite Creed fragrance. Yes, it has maybe what you would call a little bit of an old school vibe to it, at least compared to what's coming out nowadays. Yes, has a similarity to Cool Water by Davidoff and a bunch of other fragrances that came after Green Irish Tweed, but I think it just smells absolutely stunning. So classy. I love green fragrances, and this one is a very fresh one, bright, airy. The lemon verbena in there, especially off the top, I just love. So Green Irish Tweed, I'm putting that one into the Hall of Fame. And really, Green Irish Tweed, one of my most worn of all time. I've got multiple bottles of the stuff. So what we'll do is, I guess, go niche designer, niche designer, niche designer, and just keep it moving like that. Okay, first designer, Homme from YSL. Also, I should say that I decided to do only one fragrance per brand. So as an example, I did Homme here from YSL, so no other YSLs able to be inducted in this video. So why Homme, especially compared to some of the other YSLs out there? Well, first reason is I figured whenever I turn the reins over to you guys, you're not going to induct Homme. I don't think you would. I think that realistically, you guys would go for like Eau de Parfum or La Nuit de L'Homme, maybe even Koros or something, and Homme would be left out in the cold, very lonely. So why did I include it? Well, to me, this is almost like the precursor to all the blue fragrances that came down the road, because the opening here is very much kind of a blue fragrance opening. That ginger and citrus, it's super ultra appealing, great versatility, big time compliment factor. And really the rest of the fragrance has that versatility first and foremost at the forefront of the scent. That's what it's made for. So this, even though it's not a blue fragrance, you know, it kind of helped kick that all off in a way. And also I just think it's a great everyday kind of scent. So Homme. Okay, let's get this one out of the way because it's very obvious. BR540 from Maison Francis Kurkdjian. This is a fragrance that when it came out was hyped to death. It was all over the place and everybody was buying it, men and women. And I get why. It's just so appealing. No, it doesn't smell natural, right? It has kind of a candy floss vibe to it. That's how it's always described. It's very sugary, saffron, and precious woods as it's described. Some people will say the performance is terrible. Other people will say, no, man, you're just going nose blind. It's still there. I can smell it. Trust me, I can smell it. And it's a big compliment puller as well. And it's been knocked off about 15,000 times. Kind of like Creed Aventus, there are untold numbers of clones and alternatives of this out there. So BR540 going into the haul. Back to designers. Tom Ford, Black Orchid. Black Orchid. This one is another fragrance that both a ton of men and women buy. Technically, it's marketed as a ladies fragrance, but realistically, it's unisex. It is a dark, thick, mysterious kind of floral scent with a truffle earthiness. It is kind of an acquired taste. A lot of people are gonna smell Black Orchid and think it's a little funky or it's not really pleasant. But it's one of those deals where you smell it more and you smell more things, and then you come back to it and you start to appreciate it more and more. So Black Orchid, this one definitely going in. Back to niche, Timbuktu from L'Artisan Parfumé. Parfumier. So this fragrance, I've got a couple bottles of it, and it was the first one I was really intrigued to get from the house. Of course, it's got some vetiver in there as it dries down, that dry woodiness, and I'm a huge fan of that. It's classy, it's masculine, the quality is very good. I actually preferred these older style bottles. I know it's very simple, but just that little sticker right there, the little whoop strip, I liked these more. They switched it up, went to this new, maybe more minimalistic, modern look to it, kind of a black stylized bottle. I like these ones. In the top, it has mango. So when you see that, you may think, oh, it's gonna be like a very fruity kind of exotic scent, but the mango doesn't hang around for too long. Ultimately, it is about that vetiver, myrrh, incense, and papyrus. It is a former hype beast. Nobody really talking about it anymore, but I wanted to show it some love because that's a fragrance that got me into the house. And I think it's overlooked. Definitely going to appeal more to middle-aged guys and older. Younger guys, not gonna dig it as much, but still good quality. Back to designers, Aqua Dijo, the original. I have to put Aqua Dijo in here, I'm sorry. Yes, I prefer Profundo nowadays. Yes, most of you out there prefer Profumo, but this one right here, the original, I wore untold times, and it just changed everything, both for me and for legitimately millions of people out there. So I gotta put it in the list, right? I gotta put it in the Hall of Fame. It's the best-selling men's fragrance ever. So it just automatically gets a pass, essentially. And since this is one of the older fragrances in here, especially when we're talking designers that are featured, you would think maybe with the Hall of Fame go with, you know, Cool Water and Koros and Quorum and, you know, some of the older fragrances, right? But I leave that to you because I was trying to cover a lot of different bases here. Anyway, Aqua Dijo, fresh, aquatic, obviously in the name, white florals, citrus, extremely appealing, so easy to wear. Yes, it is worn out to death, but I gotta put it in. And since we're talking citrus, we'll do this next, Neo from Xerjoff. This is going in because it's one of my favorite green, fresh citrus scents ever. Like, I love this scent so much. And this is one of those fragrances where I can still remember the first time I smelled it years ago, just being awestruck. You know, like it smelled so good. I was like, oh my God, how did they do that? That's amazing. So I had to get it right away. And even to this day, when I smell it, I'm still just like, whoa, so good. So if you're looking for one of the best citrus fresh fragrances out there, again with some white florals, you got to check that out. It is top notch. Designers, Dior Homme Intense. Don't have to say too much. You know, it's one of the best iris fragrances ever. Creamy, makeup-y, sure. More of a formal fragrance, nighttime cool weather fragrance. Yeah, absolutely, but I don't care. This is one of the few fragrances where even though at the time there was no warning that it could be discontinued, there was no inkling, there was no anything that it could be going away anytime in the near future or distant future. Even though there was none of that going on, I still bought multiple bottles of this stuff because I was just like, I have always gotta have some of this. And so I do. I've got multiple bottles of this stuff. Some older, some not quite as old, but I'm pretty well set. And with this one, sure, you'll have people out there that say, that iris is not for me, man. I can't wear it. I don't like it. The lipstick, the makeup, I don't dig that. I want something either fresher, cleaner, or more masculine than this. And that's all good. You know, it's not going to be for everybody, but for the people that it is for, like me, this stuff is unmatched. And the final niche one, Rouge Parfum Creation E or Enigma, depending on where you live. This is the Parfum. I also have an old paper label of this fragrance, and I have the Parfum cologne. So years back when I was first checking out Rouge Parfum, this was like my holy grail to an extent. Now, there were other fragrances from the house that I also really wanted that were kind of out of reach, too expensive. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about there. There are some scents that in the fragrance world would get so much love, but then you look at the price tag, it's like $1,500 plus for some of those. And that's just not gonna happen. And so I was like, well, I really want something that's, you know, one of Rouge Parfum's more rich, sweet, warm fragrances. And I wanted it to be one that got a lot of love, you know? I wanted to experience what people would say is one of the better ones from the house that ticks those boxes, that isn't insanely crazy, insane expensive. And so I got this. Still expensive. Well, this wasn't the first one I got. The first one I got was the paper label, and it was cheaper than this one. They don't make the paper label ones anymore, just to make sure everybody knows what I'm talking about. It's just literally the label is paper is what I'm saying. But yeah, I got it in. It didn't cost me as much, nowhere near some of those other ones. And I loved it because it has that sparkle to it, that Rouge Parfum sparkle that just makes it so appealing. And yeah, there's a billion notes in the stuff. You've got boozy notes, you've got fruits, you've got, you know, this, that, and the other thing, resins, woods, everything under the sun essentially, but it smells awesome. And in the winter time, it still smells so great. Last designer, Allure Homme from Chanel, the original Allure. Allure Homme is kind of like Yves Saint Laurent L'Homme to an extent, not in how they smell, but in the way that when it came out, everyone just thought, oh, dude, that is awesome. And then as time went on, flankers came and more flankers and more flankers and more flankers. And eventually the one that kicked it all off, yeah, it's not so cool anymore. It's not gonna get talked about like it used to be. So with Allure Homme, you're getting this very appealing, like creamy citrus with spicy warmth. You've got vanilla, you've got tonka, peach, lemon, ginger. You have woods in there, you have spices. I mean, there's a lot going on as far as the note breakdown goes, but ultimately what you have here is an extremely versatile scent that works during the day or the evening that I think you could realistically pull off year round. That is a compliment monster. Yes, it came out like at the turn of the century, turn of the millennium, 1999 into 2000, but it still works. It doesn't come across smelling dated and old. It's a great, great release. And of course, kicked off the whole Allure line for men. So there we go. That's the GENTSTEN Hall of Fame, the first 10 inductees. So at some point in the future, again, I haven't decided exactly when, I'm gonna turn it over to you. I'll tell you all, you know, these 10 are already in, so you can't vote for these. And then I'm just gonna let you guys go wild and you can start doing the inducting on your own. Don't screw this up, okay? Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.